Today's the day, guys. We are going to be making Jamie Oliver's famous paella. The paella with chorizo and carrots, the one that he got in trouble a few years ago, or a few years back with.
Uno de los cocineros más famosos del mundo, el británico Jamie Oliver, ha provocado un enorme revuelo con su receta de la paella.
It says chop off your fingers and turn them into nuggets.
It gets so much darker than that. Death threats and all sorts because of a bit of sausage. FYI, it tastes better with chorizo. Trust me or don't trust me.
We're going to be making that today. And if you are curious on finding out on whether or not it tastes good or whether or not you should make it, then stick around to the end of the video and be sure to give this video a like and a share because trust me, I'm actually taking a little bit of a risk here making it because I live in Spain and I live not that far from TV3. So I don't know, maybe I may get on the news. Who knows? If anybody is from TV3 and they want to put me on the news, be sure to do so, but nicely, yeah? Because I'm doing a review. This isn't my recipe. So now, let's get started. Today we're going to be using a lot of ingredients, and some ingredients that are a little controversial to go into a paella. Now, we're going to be using some chicken thighs and chicken legs, some drums and some thighs, deboned and deskinned, yes? We're also going to be adding some chorizo to this. Now, for the chorizo, the recipe didn't specify what type to use. This is extra smoked. It is not spicy, but it's smoked, so it will add a little bit of a smoky flavor to it. We're going to be using a little bit of garlic, a lemon, a carrot as well. I've never actually added carrots to paella before, so carrots will add a little bit of sweetness to this, yeah? Instead of using stock today, we're going to be adding 1 stick of pre-packed chicken stock, some sweet paprika, pimentón dulce. We're going to be adding bomba rice. This is the bomba rice. This is Spanish rice for paellas. There are also other types of rice that you can use. And what's special about bomba, unless you don't know and unless you haven't seen my other videos, is that this rice absorbs like 3 times the amount of water. You do not want to be using other types like basmati or jasmine or any long grain types of rice. If you're in a pinch, and I'm not saying to do this, but if you are in a pinch and you don't have this type of rice and you only have, say, like a Boreo, you can use it, but, well, it's not going to hurt this recipe, is it? I don't have tomato puree, so we're going to be adding just a little bit of tomato sauce. And in this recipe, unlike the egg fried rice, you do want to use olive oil. Yes, olive oil is important for paella.
1 tablespoon of olive oil and...
What? 1 tablespoon of what?
A little bit of parsley, some frozen peas. Of course, we have to add peas to this, don't we? And we're going to be adding 1 red bell pepper. Now, the thing is, the recipe states 1 red pepper. And, well, this is 1 red pepper, but so is this. So whenever you see a recipe, you kind of have to use your own due diligence and think a little bit because obviously this is too much for this recipe. Here we go. Let's hope this turns out well. Anytime that you notice like the germ of the garlic that's really starting to like grow, here not really, but it's a good idea to remove it. Some say that this is what causes the bite in the garlic, but it isn't. It's actually the chemical allicin that causes the bite, which is the defensive chemical of garlic and like onions to protect them against predators. Also with like lemons and limes, citrus, if you roll it, it helps to release the juices a little more when you go to squeeze it. So do that before you cut it and it'll make it easier. Real quick, if you're going to be using any pans, it's a good idea to get a paella pan. This is for 2 people. It may look a little big for 2, but The idea is not to make like a super thick dish where it's like up to here. The idea with paella is to make it in a big pan where it's a little shallow, and that way the rice cooks more evenly because it's distributed wider. Now with the paella pan, the thing is, if you can get the oil, if it comes up to just under, just under these little rivets, that's enough in the pan. It may look like a lot, but we do use a lot of olive oil here in Spain. All right, now Jamie says first we're gonna throw in all the veggies, but first what we're going to do is we're gonna throw in the meat, we're gonna sear it, and then we're gonna take that out and then throw in the veggies. Little tip, if it's sticking and you don't see a lot of color on it, the pan's not hot enough, as in case in point. This comes out. All right, the onions, carrots go in. Cook this for about 5 minutes. He also says it's stock in the garlic. Okay. Right, after about 5 minutes, we'll throw the peppers in. If you notice that you need a little more oil, add a little more. Okay, we're gonna add the chorizo and the chicken back in. Right. Chorizo and the chicken we added back in. We're gonna add in the tomato sauce because we don't have tomato stock, or tomato puree, I should say. We're gonna be adding in the little chicken stock cube. Yeah. Break this in, the whole thing too, by the way. Okay. All that MSG. And the 300 grams of rice, which, by the way, is a lot for this. It's for about 3 people, which this paella pan's only rated for about 2. Almost forgot. I forgot to add 1 teaspoon of paprika. Oh, I'll add a little less. There we go. Now we're gonna add the water. And we're gonna let this cook. The thing is, you don't want to be adding too much paprika to this because otherwise the paella is gonna be like red, and you don't want it like super red. Not yellow, but you do want it like a little in between. When we're at this stage, turn it on high, let it come up to a vigorous boil for just like a minute or so, and then we're gonna drop it down on low heat because you don't want to move this. Jamie says to continuously move it as you're cooking it. That's to prevent it from burning. But there's a trick to getting the socorrat, which we're gonna try to get today. And, well, we'll mix it up at the end maybe. Now you can tell it's starting to get a little thick. Yes? So if you have to add like a little bit more water, then be sure to add it. The thing is that for this paella pan, 300 grams of rice plus all the other ingredients is a wee bit too much to add to this pan. It should be more like a little bigger, like for 4 people. Now before we let this cook, we're gonna taste it in case we need to add any seasoning. I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt. And since this is Jamie's recipe, he says add a little bit of pepper, so I'm gonna add a little bit of black pepper to it. Normally you don't, but you know, to each his own. Mix this in, and we will see how this turns out. So far, it doesn't look that bad. Yeah? Famous last words, no? So now we're gonna put a timer on for 15 minutes. And we're not gonna move it. Yeah, it's on low heat. If you need to, take it off of the big burner and put it on a smaller burner. All right? Also, if you have to, you can cover it. And if the lid's a little big, it's okay, but as long as it covers, it's good.
15 minutes later.
Moment of truth. Right, so it sounds like there's still a little too much water, and there is. So if there's a little too much water in it and the rice is done, because we can check the rice is cooked, even on top, turn it on high heat and try to evaporate the rest of the water. So we're gonna add some green peas to this, sprinkle them on top. He says to add all of this, yeah, 100 grams, which to me is like, it's just too much. And as you can tell with this pan, it's just too much. Too much rice, too much product for this size pan. Okay, so I'm gonna be adding, not all of it, but some of them. Put the lid back on, just to heat the peas up. Now, if you can hear that sizzling, that is the rest of the juices reducing and hopefully creating a little bit of socarrat. Now we're gonna sprinkle a little bit of parsley on. Add some lemon wedges, as it says in the recipe as well. And voila, it's done. Taste test time. Oh, I have to admit, that's actually not that bad. I'm joking. I am and I'm not. So here's the thing. If you're going to call this a paella, there's a few things that you need to change. We're going to mixy and make it a little more like he has in his photo. We got a little bit of a socarrat. So this had a little bit too much water. Yeah, 750 for about 300 grams is a little too much. Now, to be honest, we didn't follow Jamie's recipe 100% to the T. So obviously his actual recipe that he made that day that he got in a lot of trouble with it was different. Yeah, because I used a type of chorizo that was a little smoky, and you can taste that as well. I added a little bit of a smoky flavor to it, but I didn't add shrimp. I didn't add tomato paste as well because I just had tomato sauce. And, you know, little things like this actually do matter. The thing is, though, is that whenever you add chorizo to anything, you just need to keep in mind that it has a very strong flavor because chorizo is made with pimenton. This is not something that I would order if I was in a restaurant. As a matter of fact, if I got this as a paella and I ordered one, I'd be a little cross. So again, it's not something that I would order. It's not something that I would want to make, but since I made it, this is not something that I'm gonna throw out. So let me put it that way. So hopefully guys, you did enjoy this little tutorial video, and hopefully you did enjoy watching me make it. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. And if you have made this recipe, then let me know your thoughts on it. Or even if you haven't, let me know your thoughts on it down below and on what recipes we can test next, as well as what recipes to make, because I do have a list now that I need to make. I need to make a few other recipes, carbonara, pizzas, and a few other things. Don't forget to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. Until next time, take care.
Gozándonos la vida es más que suficiente. Claro.